Good afternoon, students of class 12C. Welcome to
Welcome
the
to the
class.
class.
And
And
before we
before we
start the
start the
class,
class,
please
please
make
make
sure to
sure to
write your
write your
name,
name,
roll
roll
number,
number,
and
and section.
all right, in the
Alright, on the
comment
comment
box.
box.
Today we
Today
will
we
be
will be
doing
doing
the
the
subject for
subject for
today
today
is
is
commerce,
commerce,
and the
and the
topic
topic
is
is
sources
sources
of
of
finance
finance
for
for
children
children's
stock company.
company.
All right,
Alright,
the
the
long-term
long-term
sources.
sources.
Okay, we
Okay,
have
we have
already.
already.
This is
This
the
is the
contribution
contribution
of the
of the
chapter which
chapter
we
which
have
we have
briefly
briefly
finished.
finished.
I mean, half of
Half
it
of
we
it
have
we have
finished in
finished
the
in the
class.
class.
All right.
Alright.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
we have
we've
already
already
done the
done the
shares,
shares, the
types of
types of
shares,
shares,
equity
equity
preference,
preference,
sweat
sweat
equity
equity
shares.
shares
Okay,
again, and
I
I
believe we
believe
have
we
done
have
the
done the
retained
retained
earning
earning
also.
also.
Okay, the
Okay, the
remaining
remaining
long-term
long-term
sources of
sources of
finance
finance
are
are
the debenture,
debenture,
loan
loan
from
from
commercial
commercial
banks, and
banks, and
also
also
the
the
loan
loan
from
from
financial
financial
institutions.
institution.
All right,
Right.
so
So
let's
let's
start with
start with
debenture.
debenture.
So
So
what a
what a
debenture
debenture
is? So
is? So
let's
let's
look
look
what
what
debenture is.
debenture
All
is.
right.
Alright.
So a
So a
debenture
debenture
is
is
the
the
government
document
or
or
certificate
certificate
issued by
issued by
a
a
company
company
under
under
its
its
common
common
seal
seal
as
as
an acknowledgement
acknowledgement
that
that
we
we
are
are
without
without
charge
charge
on
on
the
the
asset
asset
of
the company's
as
as
well
well
as
as
repayment
repayment
of
of
the
the
specified
specified
sum
sum
along
along
with
with
the
the
interest
interest
on
on
or
or
before
before
the
the
prescribed
prescribed
date.
date.
Okay, so
So
the debenture is
indenture
the
is
what?
the what?
Just like
Just
a
like a
share,
share,
this is
this
the
is the
document,
document,
okay,
okay,
which
which
specifies
specifies
it's
it's
issued by
issued
the
by the
company
company
under
under
their
their
common
common
seal.
seal.
Alright, you know
Alright,
what
you
is
know what is
common
common
seal,
seal,
right?
right?
Okay,
Okay,
as an
as an
acknowledgement
acknowledgement
of
of
that
that
it may
it
be
may be
with or
with or
without the
without the
charge on
charge
the
on the
asset of
asset
the
of the
company.
company.
Alright,
Alright,
so the
so the
debenture
debenture may or may not be
may or
may
may
or
not
may
be
not be
given
given
as a
as a
charge on
charge
the
on the
asset of
asset
the
of the
company.
company. So
When
so
the
when a
company
company
issues
issues
debenture, they
debenture,
may
they
take
may take
the
the
debenture
debenture
holder
holder
may
may
ask
ask
for
for
as a
as a
security for
security for
that on
that
the
on the
asset of
asset
the
of the
company.
company.
Alright,
Alright,
and also
and
if
also
it
it
has to be
has to be
repaid on
repaid
the
on a
specified
specified
time
time
period
period
along with
along with
the
the
actual
actual
sum and
sum
also
and also
along with
along
the
with the
interest.
interest.
Alright.
Alright.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
just like
just
a
like a
share, this
share,
is
this is
also
also
the
the
document.
document.
Alright, but
Alright,
in
but
case
in
of
case of
share,
share,
they are
they
the
are the
owners.
owners.
It is
It
the
is the
capital.
capital.
But
But
this of
this
the debenture
debenture
is the
is the
loan
loan
capital.
capital.
So
So
the
the
debenture
debenture
holder,
holder,
whoever
whoever
is
is
holding this
holding
type
this
of
type of
document,
document,
a
a
debenture
debenture
document,
document,
they are
they are
the
the
creditors of
creditors
the
of the
company
company
because the
because the
debenture is
debenture
the
is the
borrowed
borrowed
fund.
fund.
Okay, it's
Okay,
not
it's
an
not an
own
own
fund, but
fund,
it's
but
the
it's the
borrowed
borrowed
fund. So
fund.
it
So it
inherited the
inherited
loan
the loan
capital.
capital.
So
So
that's
that's
why the
why the
debenture
debenture
holder
holder
is
is
the
the
creditor of
creditor
the
of the
company.
company.
All right.
Alright.
So now
So now
I hope
I
you
hope
have
you have
understood what a
understood what a
debenture
debenture
is.
is.
Now
Now
let's
let's
look
look
into the
into the
features of
features
a
of a
debenture.
debenture.
features of debentures. The characteristics of
Characteristics of
debentures.
debentures.
Alright. The features. Number
Number
one
one
is
is
the
the borrowed fund.
this
It is
is
not
not
owned
part
fund,
one,
but
it's
it's
a
a borrowed fund.
right.
Right?
You can
You can
only
only
make
make
feature for
feature for
the
the
definition
definition
that
that
a
a
debenture is
debenture is
a
a
borrowed
borrowed
fund.
fund.
Right.
Right?
And
And
also
also
what?
what?
The
The
interest.
interest.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
going
I'm
to
going
do
to
it. Next
next
time.
time.
So
So
the interest
on
is
this debenture,
interest is fixed. Okay, so the interest on this debenture is fixed.
So it is fixed.
First
First
term,
term,
it will
it
be
will be
6%
6%
forever.
forever.
Alright, it
Alright, it
doesn't
doesn't
change.
change.
So
So
the interest on
on
debenture
debenture
is
is
fixed.
fixed.
Unlike in
Unlike in
shares,
shares,
the
the
interest
interest
is what?
is
It
what?
keeps
It
on
keeps on
fluctuating,
fluctuating,
is it
is it
not?
not?
Depends on the profit of the company. But in case of debenture, the interest which is to be given to the debenture holder is fixed. Alright, it is fixed rate. And this interest on debenture is to be paid irrespective of profit. Okay, the interest on debenture is to be paid irrespective of the company's profit or okay. So even if the company is earning loss, they have to pay interest on debenture to the debenture holder. So the interest on debenture is what? It has to be paid irrespective of profit. So even if the company is earning a loss, they still have to pay interest on the debenture to the debenture holder, which is of fixed rate. And number 4, debenture has no voting rights. Okay, so the debenture holder cannot take part in the management of the company, okay, because they have no voting rights. Unlike in shares, we have learned that what the shareholder are the owner of the company, they are the member of the company, and they have what? Voting rights. But in case of a debenture, they have no voting rights, so they cannot interfere in the management of the company. All right. And we have already seen in the definition also, it involves charge on the asset of the company. So while issuing debenture, the debenture holder may act as a security, okay, which is a charge against the asset of the company. They may have to mortgage the asset of the company, all right, while issuing debenture. And number 5, 6. Number 6, legal actions. Okay, when the company fail to pay the interest on debentures to the debenture holder on time, that what can the debenture holder do? They can take legal action against the company, okay? So which may also lead to the winding up of the company. So they can sue the company in case of default, okay? So if the company failed to pay them their interest on debenture or the sum, the debenture holder can take legal action against the company, all right? And number 7, repayable after specified period. So a debenture is what? A debenture is repayable after, it has to be repaid after specified period. So if a company is issuing a debenture for 10 years, so after 10 years, the company has to repay back the money to the debenture holder, all right? So after the specified year for which a debenture is issued, if the year finishes, the debenture holder is to be paid their money back, all right? The company has to repay their money to the debenture holder after a specified period of time. So these are all the features of a debenture. Okay, next we have the types of debenture. So there are different types of debenture. Just like in shares, debenture is also of many types. So types of debenture. The first one is naked and mortgage. Okay, this type of debenture are opposite of each other. So a naked debenture is also known as simple debenture or unsecured debenture. All right. So this type of debenture is what issued to the debenture holder without any charge on the asset of the company. So when the company make any default, it is very unsecured. So if they make default also, the debenture holder cannot take any legal actions against the company. And also what happens? This type of debenture, sorry. So a naked debenture is also known as what? Simple debenture or unsecured. So this type of debenture is issued to the debenture holder without any charge on the asset of the company. So if the company fails to pay money or make default, they cannot take any legal actions against the company. All right. And the other kind of debenture is just the opposite of naked debenture, which is known as mortgage debenture, and they are also known as secured debenture. Why is it secured? Because while issuing this type of debenture, the company it is issued against the asset of the company. So it is issued by giving some mortgage, okay, mortgaging the asset of the company. So if the company fail to pay money, fail to pay them interest or the sum, then what can the debenture holder do? They can recover their money by, okay, keeping the asset of the company, because they are issued debenture by mortgaging the asset of the company. All right. So this is not secured, and this is secured. All right. Next we have redeemable. Redeemable and irredeemable. So redeemable debenture are also known as callable debenture. All right, because this type of debenture they are paid or called after a specified period of time before the winding up of the company. And irredeemable debenture are what? They cannot be repayable. They are repayable only at the time of winding up of the company. So they are repaid only when the company is winding up. But in case of redeemable debenture, they are repaid after the specified time period or before the winding up of the company. And irredeemable debenture has to be repaid only after the winding up of the company. So if the company is not winding up, they will not be repaid their money. All right. And this type, they will be repaid after a specified time period. So if the debenture is for 10 years, so after 10 years, they will be repaid. But here, only at the time of winding up. Next, we have barrier and third debenture. Okay, so a bearer debenture is the type of debenture which is not registered with the registrar of debenture holders. Registrar means, so before giving your board exam, you have to register yourself, is it not? During class 11, you went to the office to register, right? With the board. So just like that, a bearer debenture is not, so they are not registered, all right? So just like if you're not registered, you cannot appear for the board exam, just like that. This type of debenture are not registered with the register of debenture. So what happens? You can easily transfer this type of debentures. So if I'm having this debenture, I can easily give to you, right, without any problem. And the interest on this type of debenture is given on the production of coupon attached with the debenture. But unlike bearer debenture, there is registered debenture. So just like the name suggests, this is a debenture which is registered with the registrar of debenture holder, and so since it's registered, you cannot freely transfer. All right, you cannot freely transfer to anybody, and the interest on this type of debenture is given only to the holder who is registered with the registrar of debenture. All right, so this is type, it's not registered and you can easily transfer. This is registered, this is not registered, so you can easily transfer, and this is registered, that's why you cannot easily transfer to anybody you like, right? Because the interest will be paid only to the person who is registered with the register of debenture. Next we have convertible and non-convertible. So a convertible debenture is the type of debenture which can be converted into equity shares after a specified time period. Okay, so after a specified time period, this type of debenture you can easily convert into equity shares. Okay, if you want it. So if I'm a debenture holder and if I want to change my debenture into equity, so I can do it. All right. So after a specified time period, I can change my debenture into equity shares. All right. And in case of non-convertible, just like the name suggests, it is not convertible into any kind of equity or any other kind of securities. So if it has to be forever a debenture, we cannot convert it. All right, even if we want it. So that's it for the types. We have naked and mortgage, redeemable and irredeemable, barrier and registered, and convertible and non-convertible. All right, is it clear? Types. All right, let's move to the next. Advantages of debenture. Why a debenture is an advantage? The merits of debenture, all right? So, by issuing a debenture, the company also gains something, and also the holder of debenture also gains something. So, let's look into that. The advantages. So, just like I told, by issuing debenture, it is also beneficial for the debenture holder and also the company. So let's first look into what are the benefits of issuing a debenture to the debenture holder. So it appeals to a cautious investor. So if an investor is a person who do not like to take risks, okay, who is very orthodox, who wants safety in their investment, so that type of person can easily invest in debenture. Why? Can you tell me why? Why it appeals to a cautious investor? Can you tell me? Okay, because like we have already learned in the features, right? Because it get what? Fixed return, is it not? Because irrespective of the profits of the company, we are going to get a fixed return on the interest, right? Fixed interest. All right, so even if the company is running a loss, we will still get a fixed rate of interest. So we do not need to be in what? Tension that, okay, the company is running loss, I will not get my money. So here, irrespective of the profit, the debenture holder is going to get fixed rate of interest. All right. So next is regular return. All right. And also what? It gives, it's almost same thing, okay? Regular return. If you're going to get 7,000 is the interest and you're going to get 7,000 regularly, okay? There's no stoppage in your return. So you're going to get, the investor is going to get regular return. Next is safety of investment. So we have already seen in futures, right, that debenture are given as against the charge on the asset of the company. So even if the company make any default, the investor can easily recover their money by selling the asset of the company, because a debenture is issued against the asset of the company, because the company give a mortgage, right, has mortgaged their asset and issued debenture. So you can easily recover. If the company failed to make payment to you, you can easily take away the asset of the company. So it is a safety of investment. So these are the three advantages or benefits that a debenture holder get by issuing a debenture. Next, we will look from the viewpoint of the company. What are the benefits of issuing debenture to a company? Number one, it is an economical source. Why it is an economical source? Since we have already learned what? The return on debenture is fixed, right? So what many people, they like to buy debenture instead of shares, because in case of share, the interest what? Fluctuates, and when there is a loss, they don't get any dividend also. But it's not like that in case of debenture. So they get what? Fixed return. So since they're getting fixed return, they go for buying debenture. So because of that, the company does not need to spend money on underwriting, okay, brokerage. So they do not need to spend extra expenses on giving the brokerage fee, underwriting fee. All right. So it is an economical source because people easily want to buy debenture because of fixed return. Next, it is freedom from management. So as we have already learned in the futures that a debenture do not carry voting rights, unlike in case of shares, right? So since they do not carry any voting rights, the management is free from their intervention, all right? Okay. The third number is trading on equity. So what is trading on equity? So we have already learned that a debenture holder is given what? Fixed rate of interest, right? So if the company is earning high profit, all right, so they will give them, suppose, I'm giving you an example. Suppose, this is just an example, okay? So suppose a company is earning a profit of, say, 10,000, all right? It's an example. So suppose a company is earning a profit of 10,000 and they have to give to debenture holder what? Debenture holder, the interest is fixed, right? Suppose it was 7,000. It was, suppose, 3,000 only. That means the remaining 7,000 what? It will be shared by the shareholder, okay? So the company can give high dividends to the shareholder of the company, because a shareholder is the person who is going to enjoy the remaining profit of the company. So since to debenture holder you will give only fixed rate of interest, the remaining profit, if the company is earning a high profit, the remaining profit is given as a dividend to the shareholder, which is known as trading on equity. That means you can easily share your equity in the market. Next we have flexibility. How is it flexible? Because in case of debenture, we have already learned in the types of debenture that debenture is to be what? Paid after a specified time period, is it not? So since a debenture is paid after a specified time period, when you don't need this anymore, you can easily repay them back their money. Alright, so it depends on you. You can pay them before, after a specified time period, or at the time of winding up. So if you do not need the money anymore, you can easily pay them after a specified time period. Or if you don't, then you can pay at the time of winding up. Alright, next, tax relief. So at the time of calculating the taxable income, the interest given on debenture is free from tax. Okay, you can deduct the interest given to the debenture holder. All right, so it gives a tax relief to the company. So these are the advantages. Now let's look into the disadvantages. So everything has some advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages of issuing a debenture according to a company is, number one, permanent burden on the profits, on interest of interest. So the interest to be given on the debenture is what? Fixed rate. At a fixed rate, it doesn't change, right? So irrespective of profit, you have to give interest to a debenture holder. So it becomes a burden for the company in case of loss. So if a company is running a loss also, they still have to pay to the debenture holder the interest. All right, so it becomes a permanent burden. Next, number two, charge on asset. Since debenture are issued on charge on the asset of the company, what happens in case of running a loss? When the company is running a loss, what can the debenture holder do? We have already learned that the debenture holder can recover their loss by keeping the asset of the company. So what happens? If they do so, what happens? The company's business may become stagnant. So if you don't have asset to work, right, the company become what? Paralyzed, okay? Because it is through the asset and machinery of the company is running smoothly, is it not? But if someone takes away some of the asset of the company, what happens? Their business become paralyzed, all right? Reduction in dividend. And dividend are given to whom? To the shareholders. And shareholders are who? The owners of the company. So what happens? Since the interest on debenture is what? Fixed. You have to give them regularly, right? So, and the debenture shareholder are given dividend only after paying to the debenture holder, okay? So, if after paying them, whatever amount is left, that is to pay to the shareholder. So, in case if the company is earning high profit, what happens? Because to debenture holder you are giving fixed, so the shareholder get less dividend. So it reduces the dividend. So that for which the share price in the market becomes less. All right. Next is reduction in credit standing. So when a company issues debentures, what happens? The borrowing capacity of a company decreases, all right? So there is a reduction in the credit standing of the company. So the borrowing capacity of a company decreases whenever a debenture is issued. So to get loan from financial institution or other banks, it becomes difficult. All right. So the borrowing capacity of a company decreases when they issue debenture. Next, we have some disadvantages according to the shareholder. I mean debenture holder, sorry. What are the disadvantages that a debenture holder face while they take debenture? Okay. Number one, no voting rights. Since they don't have any voting rights, they cannot take part in the management of the company. So what happened? They are at the mercy. Okay, they are at the mercy of the shareholder because shareholder have voting rights. They take part in the management. So whatever the shareholder is saying, they have to follow that. All right. So they are at the mercy of the shareholders because they do not have any voting rights. Next, high unit price. Okay. So to buy a debenture, it is more costlier. So one unit of debenture is high. Okay, so it is costlier than a share. So to buy a debenture for a person who is having what? A low investor. Okay, a low investor who want to invest, who don't have much money, cannot buy debenture because of the unit price is high. So the unit price of a debenture is high. That's why everyone cannot easily buy debenture. So it is unattractive. Yes, a debenture is unattractive because it gives a fixed rate of return and the return is also not very high. So if a person wants to what? Take part in the what? Prosperity of the company, he cannot do so because he is going to get only fixed amount of money when he take a debenture. Alright, so it is unattractive for those person who want a very high return because you can only do so by taking the shares of the company. Alright, that's it for debenture. Okay, now let's talk about the loan from commercial bank. We all know that what is a commercial, right? Commercial bank. Okay, when we go to what we see a SBI, Axis Bank, they are all commercial banks. So I'm not writing it. Okay, this is very small topic, and debenture is most important. So what? A commercial bank also provide long terms of finance to the company. Okay, if I go to a bank and I want a loan, they'll give me loan, but they'll give me short term, right? Because I'm not a company. Is it not? And also what? My investment plan will not be very what? High end. So the commercial bank may provide long-term sources of finance to a company. All right. It also provides mid-term and short-term also. But now since we're learning about the long-term, it provides long-term. In the next part, we will learn the short-term finance. There also what a commercial bank provide because a commercial bank provide what long-term, mid-term, short-term. Okay, so it provide loan to a company as a long-term. All right, which the rate is also what just like a debenture, the rate is also fixed. Okay, and also it is to be repayable after a specified time period. All right, if you are taking a loan for 10 years, so after 10 years is completed, you have to. So there are some advantages of taking a loan from commercial bank. So let's look what are the advantages. Flexibility. So just like I told, you can what? Take loan from the commercial bank and repay them in installment or in lump sum. So it is flexible, right? So it depends on you whether you want to pay them in what? Installment basis or on lump sum. Okay? And I think you can even pay them if at one time you want to pay 2 installment money, then you can do so. So it's very flexible. All right. And also this is what? Tax relief. So just like debenture, this type of interest that is to be paid to a interest paid on bank loan is also free from tax. Okay, so it gives tax relief to the company. And also you can what? Do trading on equity. You have already known what is trading on equity. Okay, on the debentures, same thing. So since what? The interest to be given to a bank loan is fixed. So the remaining profit you can distribute it as a dividend to the shareholder. So that's what trading on equity means. All right. Okay, there are some disadvantages. Oh yeah, here also no interference on management. So just like debenture, taking a loan from commercial bank also what? They do not interfere in the management of the company. So you are free from any interference, all right, because they do not carry any voting rights, just like in debenture. So the disadvantages are what? Charge on asset. So while taking a loan from a commercial bank, sometimes they may ask you a security, okay? They may ask you to mortgage your property, the property of the company. So there's a charge on the asset of the company, just like in case of debenture. So this is one disadvantages, all right? And also, legal formalities. So for taking a bank loan, you have to follow different kind of legal formalities, different kind of forms you have to fill out. You have to submit this and that document, all right? So it takes what? Many time. It's very time consuming. You have to follow what not. So many legal formalities are there which you have to follow. So it's time consuming, all right? So this is one of the disadvantages of what? Of taking a bank loan from commercial bank. Next we have interest to be paid irrespective of profit. So the interest on bank loan have to be paid even if the company is earning a loss. So whether the company is facing any kind of loss, all right, even if they are not earning profit also, the interest on bank loan has to be paid. Okay, this is one of the disadvantages. And also, the last one, just like in debenture, reduction in credit rating. So the borrowing capacity of of the company decreases whenever they take a bank loan, just like in case of debenture, all right? So these are the disadvantages and advantages of taking a bank loan from commercial bank. All right, so next we have loan from financial institution. So what a financial institution is? Bank is also one kind of financial institution, all right? Okay, so this is a very small topic. So taking a loan from, you can also take long-term loans from financial institutions. So financial, different kind of bank, okay, development bank. So they are all financial institutions. So there is some advantages and disadvantages of taking loan from financial institution. Okay, number one, the advantages. Various funds. So you can get what? Loan capital, risk capital from financial institutions. So the sources of fund is of various types. So it's your wish whether you want to take that or this. So there is what? Just like in a plain many, subji is there, then what? Various options, right? So just like that, when you want to take a loan from financial institution, you get various of options. Next, assistance. All right, so they don't only provide you loan, they also give you assistance, all right, of how to develop your business, all right, how to modernize your or expand your company. So they don't only provide what? They don't only provide you funds, but they also give you assistance and they also give you assistance for taking various kind of decisions. And also, yeah, trading on equity. This is almost same as debenture, so I will not be saying. Okay, so you can easily trade on equity when you take a loan from financial institutions. So trading on equity and also tax relief. So it's same thing. It's almost same. Okay, the advantages it's almost same to a loan taking a loan from commercial bank and from debenture. And also there is some kind of disadvantages. Okay, I will tell in briefly. Some of the disadvantages is number one. So a financial institution, what they do, they interfere in the management of the company. Okay, this is one disadvantages. All right, they interfere in the management of the company. So what happens when someone interferes? It becomes a chaos, right? And also what happens? Taking a loan from financial institution, what you have to pay them irrespective of profits. All right. If the company is earning a loss, also you have to pay the interest on this financial institution irrespective of your profit. So that's it for disadvantages. All right. So it's quite similar to commercial bank only, because commercial bank is also a kind of financial institution. Okay. For today we will end here because we are running out of time. Next class, hopefully we will do the short-term sources of finance. All right. Thank you.